Join us at the Nats Chat Hangout at Walters on Wednesday, August 6th. We'll get started at 5 p.m. prior to the game against the Athletics. Come share your early thoughts on the Mike DeBartolo era.
The 1-1. Hernandez smokes one to left center field and deep. Jacob Young on the go to the warning track at the wall. He leaps, and he cannot get it. This one is gone. It's a 2-run homer for Hernandez, and it's 5-0 Athletics. And an absolutely miserable beginning to this game for MacKenzie Gore. 6 batters in, down 5-0.
And the pitch swung on, drilled in the air to deep center field. Young going back, way back, looking up, and there it goes, a home run. A 3-homer game for Shea Langoliers. Home runs 20, 21, and 22 each time, leading off an inning.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Nationals Park. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. We are in the midst of one of the worst stretches of Nationals baseball ever. That is not hyperbole. That is not overreaction. That is not exaggeration. That is not a hot take. That is not clickbait. That is quantifiable. The Nats got hammered by the American League West Worst Athletics 16-7 at Nationals Park on Tuesday evening, giving the Nats a 6-game losing streak during which they have been outscored 70-26. Yes, 70-26, as the Nats ace MacKenzie Gore had another bad start. He officially allowed 8 runs in 3 innings, and the Nats have reached a new low point in MLB's 2025 regular season, 24 games below 500, 44-68. That is the second worst record in the National League. The run differential now is at minus 143, second worst run differential in the NL. And understand who pummeled the Nats on Tuesday evening. The lowly A's, they in this regular season are 50-65. That is the worst record in the American League West. That is the second worst record in the American League. And this loss was even worse than it sounded, because the Nats scored 4 meaningless runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. But hey, we are together again to hang out with you. You can find us on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We get a lot of great feedback from you guys. We appreciate all of it. We have a website you could check out too, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can purchase a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. At last, Cade Cavalli is making his second major league regular season start. The Nats are promoting him from AAA Rochester to start their game against the A's on Wednesday evening at 6:45. We'll get to that. But we on Tuesday evening had Sell the Team chants at Nationals Park. And Mark, what is happening right now, of course, is bad. It's being made even worse by what's happening with 2 foundational pieces in MacKenzie Gore and James Wood. But Gore, MacKenzie Gore, what has happened to the Nats ace?
It's not pretty, I'll say that. It's been going on for really more than a month. I mean, there have been a couple of good starts in there, but you can find a clear point where it started to go downhill. On June 15th, he had an ERA of 2.89 and was striking out 12.3 batters per 9 innings, leading the major leagues in strikeouts, as we talked about so much back then. Well, his ERA now, on August 5th, is 4.29, and the strikeout rate's all the way down to 10.6. He had 0 strikeouts in this game, first time he's ever had that in a major league start, did not strike or batter out. Now, I don't know if there's necessarily a common theme, because you've had some of these bad outings have included a bunch of walks. You've had some have included a bunch of hits. In this game, what was so striking is the damage the A's were doing right from the start in the first inning. Very often on the first pitch, almost every single one of their hits was on a pitch right down the pipe. And, Gore admitted that. He didn't try to make an excuse for it. He did say that there are times that he can throw it over the plate and not be hit like that. So that makes you worry, like, what's going on? Why are they all of a sudden now hitting it so hard? But this was not him fiddling around the zone. This was not him falling behind in the count. This was not him walking batters and getting himself into trouble. This was him putting pitches on a platter and getting hit really hard right from the get-go. And he was upset about it. I mean, he had the quote not just about himself, but about the whole homestand and just the state of the team. Right now, he called it embarrassing. He said, "We're all better than this. This is embarrassing. We've got to not let it affect everybody. We've got to come together as a group and get better. What has happened this homestand, it's hard to watch. He's not wrong about any of that. This has been incredibly ugly. It's one thing to lose. It's another to get completely embarrassed as they have, no matter who the opponents have been.
There are all kinds of stats right now about the extent to which the Nats are giving up hits. We don't have to go through all of them, but it's just jaw-dropping. It's not just the runs that the Nats are giving up. It is the hits that the Nats are giving up. 24 hits for the Athletics on Tuesday evening. Not just 16 runs, but 24 hits. With Gore, he was a mess. He officially allowed 8 runs in 3 innings. He gave up a whopping 12 hits, which were 2 home runs, 3 doubles, and 7 singles. He issued a walk. Like Mark said, 0 strikeouts. MacKenzie Gore, remember, he was the king of the strikeout not that long ago. #1 in the majors in total strikeouts. #1 in the majors in strikeout rate. 0 strikeouts against a pathetic team in the A's on Tuesday evening. He threw 60 pitches, 38 strikes, 22 balls. And this was a 4th consecutive start in which Gore was off to some degree. You go back to the 8-1 loss to the San Diego Padres at Nationals Park on July 20th. Gore allowed 8 runs in 2 1/3 innings. The 1-0 loss at the Minnesota Twins on July 25th, Gore allowed 1 run in 5 innings, though he issued a whopping 6 walks and 2 wild pitches. The 9-1 loss at the Houston Astros on July 30th, Gore allowed 6 runs in 5 1/3 innings. I brought this up the last time we talked about Gore. He's since pitching in the All-Star game, in which he pitched well, has not pitched well, and it's not like he's a little off. These are blow-up outings. 8 runs in 2 1/3 innings, 6 runs in 5 1/3 innings, and then what happened on Tuesday evening, 8 runs in 3 innings. You know, I had this thought, is there like an all-star game curse for the Nats? Last season, the Nats 2 all-stars, C.J. Abrams and Kyle Finnegan. What happened to them after the all-star game, right? Abrams' season fell apart. He ended up having the incident in September. And Finnegan, of course, ended up getting non-tendered this past offseason. Now, this season, the 2 all-stars, MacKenzie Gore and James Wood. Gore has not been good since the all-star game. And James Wood is in the midst of this terrible slump, although you could argue that that dates back to before the all-star game. I'm kidding, of course, but it is odd how these guys make the all-star game and they don't do well post the all-star game.
Yeah, and as you said, the irony is that Gore looked so good in that game against some of the best hitters that he's faced. Now, as I said, the slide was starting to happen, go all the way back to mid-June. It's really been much more noticeable here lately. You mentioned those last 4 starts. So that's 4 straight starts in which he has either given up 6 or more runs or walked 6 batters. You know, on the one game that he didn't give up hardly much, he still walked 6. So he has not had anything close to resembling a clean, effective start in quite a while. And it's really kind of ruining what was by far the best pitching season anybody from the Nationals had since 2019. And it's not like there isn't still time for him to salvage that, but it's really a shame that he's in this position again, just like he was last year, where he's going to need a big turnaround down the stretch to salvage it and turn it back into a good season again. If he were to somehow end this season with an ERA in the 4s, oh my God, who saw that coming? You can't possibly look at that the same way that we were looking at it just a few weeks ago when, as you said, he was an all-star. So it's a big deal. This is important for him. He kept saying, you know, something's got to change. We've got to make some adjustments. He didn't really know what it was that needs to be done. That's a little bit troubling. It's not like he can say, okay, I know what the problem is and I know how to fix it. And as we said, the different starts it's all been different things. Sometimes it's the command way off. Sometimes, you know, walking batters, sometimes high pitch count. In this case, everything right over the plate and getting hit hard. He mentioned, is he becoming too predictable in what he's throwing? That could, you know, go down to pitch selection, things like that. In the back of my mind, when I watch a game like this, I'm wondering to myself, is he tipping his pitches somehow? The way the A's were all over him on the first pitch, it kind of made you at least have that thought cross your mind. So I think he's searching for a lot right now. I will say he cares. He cares in a way that I don't know how many others on the team can match that level of it. And we heard it from him tonight after this one.
Yeah, we got to make some adjustments. You know, we can't keep trying the same thing and expect different results.
But it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to go out and do it. And he's got to prove now, once again, that he can make the adjustment in season and turn a season that's really going south on him and turn it back in the right direction.
Yeah, I remember asking you about the possibility of him tipping his pitches. Like, could that be happening? And he's been so bad here that you do have to wonder about something like that. Do these opposing teams have something on him to where they know what's coming when he's out there? It is heartbreaking to see that ERA over 4. I hate that. He was having such a good season. 4.29 now is that ERA over 23 starts. The whip is at 137. Nats interim manager Miguel Cairo was very supportive of Gore during the Cairo postgame presser, referred to him as the ace.
He's going to be fine. He knows how to pitch, and he's going to be just fine.
Look, he may be, but aces don't have ERAs over 4. Like, I think this is an interesting thing with Gore. You know, is he a true ace? Is he more a number 2 or a number 3? A lot of guys can put up good numbers over 10, 15, 20 starts. The really great pitchers, it's over 25, 30 plus starts that they put up those good numbers. It's hard over the course of a regular season to finish with really good numbers as a starting pitcher. And this is the test here. You know, can you grab your season by the shirt collar and say, oh, no, you don't, and get it back on track? Or is this a season that's coming apart at the seams and never really does get back on track? We'll see.
And can you do that on a team that's going nowhere? It's one thing when you know every start matters because you're trying to get in a pennant race and make it to October. That's not going to be the case here. Can he summon it up, whatever he needs, on a clearly lost season for the team and still put together what's a really good season for him on a personal level? And that applies to a lot of the guys on this team. That applies to James Wood right now as well. You hate to say it because you want their focus to be on the team and try and do whatever they can to help their team win games. But when you get to this point now, you do have to start thinking about yourself and saying, what can I do? If I'm not motivated for the team's sake, what can I do to make sure I'm motivated for my own sake to turn this into a good quality season that at the end of it, I may be disappointed how it all went for the team, but I can at least look myself in the mirror and say, I did everything I could. I put together the kind of step forward season that I needed, and then that helps put him in a better position going into 2026.
James Wood, another 0 for on Tuesday evening. He is an at starting left fielder and number 2 batter, 0 for 3 with a hit by pitch. I think with Gore, it does start with the strikeout. I mean, the strikeouts have evaporated. To see him have 0 strikeouts on Tuesday evening, again, against a bad team in the A's, that just was like a whopper, and that's got to change. That is not MacKenzie Gore. We know what he is. He's a strikeout pitcher. 0 Ks against the A's, unacceptable. Hey, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation. Summer is starting to wind down in the DMV. Your air conditioning is working overtime, just trying to keep your house and you cool and comfortable. What can you do to make a difference? Well, you can replace your old or builder-grade windows with windows from Window Nation. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the following deal that you're about to hear about here on the Nats Chat podcast. This month only, you can schedule a consult and get 50% off all window styles. Plus, you could even get your windows with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. Tell Window Nation that Al Galdi from the Nats Chat podcast sent you. Window Nation windows are outstanding. They are custom made from high quality materials with precision fit. Bottom line, your home stays comfortable year round. Window Nation windows are even available in over 1,500 styles and colors. So you'll get the windows that you want to protect and beautify your home. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and over 3 million windows installed, you can trust Window Nation for quality and service. Hurry, this 50% off all windows sale ends August 31st. So don't miss out. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. Schedule your estimate and tell Window Nation that Al Galdi from the Nats Chat podcast sent you.
Tim Shover's here to tell you about Babbel. If you want to know what Luciano and Gustavo are saying on the broadcast on calls such as this one, then check out Babbel. And here's their special offer for Nats Chat listeners. 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/natschat. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/natschat. That's spelled BABBEL.com/natschat. Babbel.com/natschat. Rules and restrictions may apply.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
The 1-0 pitch. Rooker grounds one third base side, fair, past the diving third baseman House. Down the line, this one goes all the way to the corner. Schumann scores, Langeliers scores, stopping at third is Kurtz, and at second with a 2-run double is Rooker. It's 14-3 in favor of the A's. Rooker has 4 hits, 2 doubles, and 3 RBIs tonight.
Well, the Nats for this 16-7 loss to the A's on Tuesday evening had a new-look bullpen, but the bullpen still had some problems. 5 Nats relievers officially combined to allow 8 runs in 6 innings. Clayton Beeter, he officially allowed 1 run in 1 inning. He, in the top of the 4th, faced 6 batters and got 3 outs, all of which were strikeouts. But Beeter, to the first batter he faced, gave up a 2-run homer by J.J. Bleday to center field for a 9-0 A's lead. The homer went a projected 418 feet per StatCast, and Beeter issued back-to-back 1-out walks. Beeter is one of 2 players who the Nats got in the Ahmed Rosario trade to the New York Yankees. Beeter, at the time of the trade, was the Yankees' number 20 overall prospect per MLB Pipeline. Orlando Revolta, he allowed 1 run in 1 inning. He, in the top of the 5th, gave up a leadoff full-count homer by Shea Langeliers to left field for a 10-1 A's lead. P.J. Poulin, he tossed a scoreless top of the 6th, despite giving up back-to-back 2-out singles. The Nats on August 3rd announced having claimed Poulin off waivers from the Detroit Tigers. Andry Lara, 6 runs in 2 innings. He, in the top of the 7th, gave up a leadoff homer by Shea Langeliers to center field for an 11-3 A's lead. The homer went a projected 419 feet per StatCast, was his 3rd home run of the game. And Jackson Rutledge was a bright spot. He tossed a perfect top of the 9th with 3 strikeouts. But the Nats bullpen, post the trade deadline fire sale, continues to have problems. The bullpen clearly is in worse shape than it was pre the deadline in terms of pre the sell-off of Kyle Finnegan, Andrew Chafin, and Luis Garcia. The Nats for this regular season dead last in MLB in relief pitching ERA, 5.98. Think about that. A bullpen ERA of basically 6. Dead last in the majors in relief pitching whip, 1.57. Look, it's good that some new blood is being put into this bullpen, but it wasn't overly impressive what we saw, certainly from Clayton Beeter in this game.
No, and I think that's probably an indication of what we might see from this guy. He's got a really good arm. He struck out 3, but he also gave up a home run to the first batter he faced. By the way, 4 different Nats pitchers gave up a home run to the first batter they faced in this game. I mean, come on. About that. And I don't know any way to look up this stat, but Beeter has now joined a list that I feel like is way too long in recent years of guys making their Nationals debut and giving up a home run to the first batter they face. That has happened way too often. It's almost impossible to believe that it has happened, more than once. It's probably happened at least 4 or 5 times, I feel like, in the last 5 years. So he's got good stuff, but he's got to command it. P.J. Poulin, it's an interesting story. 29 years old, finally making his major league debut. 5 days ago, he gets DFA'd by the Tigers. He's still in the minor leagues and doesn't know what's going to happen to him. Ends up getting not only claimed by the Nationals, but immediately brought to the big leagues. He did not see that one coming. Got to make his major league debut with a bunch of family and friends in attendance. Looked pretty good, a couple of hits, but he did look pretty good, threw a lot of strikes. I have no idea if either of these guys is going to make a big difference for them, but at this point, you got to try whatever you can because we know that the status quo is not good enough. What we're seeing from this bullpen is historically bad. You mentioned some of the stats. Here's the stat that, to me, I think sums it all up, and it combines the bullpen and the starters. Their last 4 games, Nationals pitchers have allowed 101 opposing batters to reach base. More than 25 batters per game reaching base. The last time any team's pitching staff allowed that to happen in a 4-game stretch was the Philadelphia Phillies, actually in 1993, a team that went to the World Series. I don't think the 2025 Nationals are going to follow in that pattern. This is really ugly, and it might continue to get even worse than that the way things are going.
That was a fun team, the 1993 Phillies, as we are in dire need right now of some happy thoughts. You know, no Phillies fan am I, but that was actually a really fun team, that 93 Phillies team. The Nats offense in this 16-7 loss to the A's on Tuesday evening finished with good numbers. I stress that word finished. 7 runs, 10 hits, 5 walks, 4 for 9 with runners in scoring position. But the 10 hits were a double and 9 singles, and 4 of the runs, 4 of the hits, and 1 of the walks came in the bottom of the 9th in what was garbage time. Are the Nats not the kings of scoring runs in garbage time, of scoring meaningless, pointless runs? The Nats do this all the time. I almost texted you as we entered the 9th inning to say, I guarantee you the Nats are going to score multiple runs in this bottom of the 9th, because that's what they do. They prolong these blowout losses by making the score a little closer than it otherwise would be, and it happened again in this game.
I've got the facts to back that up, Al. In this homestand, they've been outscored 54-20, so 20 runs in 4 games. 11 of those 20 runs have come in the bottom of the 9th when they were already way out of the game. More than half of the runs they've scored in this homestand so far have been garbage time runs in the bottom of the 9th that meant nothing in the grand scheme of things. That, I think, tells you everything you need to know.
It does. In terms of offensive standouts for the Nats, Luis Garcia Jr. did have a 3-hit game. He is the Nats starting second baseman and number 3 batter, 3 for 5 with a 2-run single and 2 other singles. Robert Hassel III, another good-looking hit for him, came off the bench to play left field, had a 2-out RBI double on a 1-2 pitch in that Nats 4-run 9th. Drew Millis actually is hitting lately. He is the Nats starting catcher and number 8 batter, went 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. And Brady House had a 3 RBI game. He is the Nats starting third baseman and number 6 batter, 1 for 3 with an RBI single, a bases loaded walk, and an RBI sac fly. Though he on the RBI single got thrown out in an attempted advance to second base. But like we said, a good chunk of the offense coming in garbage time. The Nats in this game got out-homered by the A's 5-0. Lost the game 16-7. Lost the home run battle 5-0.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
With the 22nd pick of the 2020 MLB Draft, the Washington Nationals select Cade Cavalli, a right-handed pitcher from the University of Oklahoma.
And so game 2 of this series against the A's, Wednesday evening at 6:45. And yes, Cade Cavalli at last will be making his second MLB regular season start. It has been nearly 3 years since start number 1. August 26, 2022 was when Cavalli made his lone major league regular season start. He has struggled with injury and ineffectiveness since March 2023. Underwent Tommy John surgery on his right elbow. As we have discussed, he's not having a good season for AAA Rochester. 15 starts, 65 innings, ERA of 6.09, whip of 155, though he does have a strikeouts per 9 innings of 9.97. I suppose the decision to go with Cavalli on Wednesday evening is predicated on a few things. One is there just aren't that many other options. Another is, hey, it's time to figure out if this guy is a real piece for this team moving forward or not. But another perhaps would be, and this sounds funny saying this now, the opposition, right? You could argue this could be a soft landing for Cavalli, although, of course, that sounds ridiculous off the A's dropping 16 runs on the Nats on Tuesday evening.
Yeah, no, I had all the same thoughts, and I think it makes sense for all those reasons, as you point out. But I think really, above all else, it boils down to the same thing that Dusty Baker said years ago when he was asked why Danny Espinosa was still in the lineup despite his continued struggles at the plate. And Dusty's answer was, who else I got? Who else do they have at this point? You might as well call him up. It's not the best timing. You would much rather be doing this when he was on a hot streak at AAA, at least coming off a couple of good starts. That hasn't been the case. It's been a weird summer for him. He's striking out a lot of batters. He's not walking a lot of batters, but he is giving up hits, kind of like MacKenzie Gore in this game. The stuff has been good, mid to upper 90s with his fastball. He still has a really good curveball. The biggest question is going to be with him, can he get guys out on pitches in or near the strike zone? A lot of his success in the minor leagues has been that the stuff is so good that he can throw it out of the zone, up, fastballs up, breaking balls way out of the zone, and get guys to chase. Well, it's one thing to do that at AA and AAA. It's a whole other thing to do that at the big league level. So I think that's the biggest thing to watch with him. But I hope he stays healthy. I hope he can give them 10 starts or so the rest of the season, because if nothing else, when we get to October 1st, you want to be able to say that you have an idea what Cade Cavalli is once and for all. Should he be part of the 2026 plan? Should he not be part of the 2026 plan? It's time to find out. It may not be good. It may be ugly. It may be great. We'll see. Maybe it works out really well, but it's time to find out one way or the other.
For those listening who are Washington Commanders fans, there's a phrase that head coach Dan Quinn uses all the time, and that is, we're not going to miss a step. We're not going to skip a step. He says that all the time about players coming back from injury. He talked about that last offseason regarding the development of quarterback Jaden Daniels. We're not going to skip a step. With Cade Cavalli, the Nats are skipping a step here. And that step is he's not having a good season. Like, he has not earned this promotion. Now, we just outlined the reasons for him to be called up to make this start. And I'm not necessarily against them calling him up to make this start. But I do think it's worth highlighting that. Like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. You have an ERA over 6. You have a whip of 155 and you get promoted to the majors. Like, that's not what you call proper player development. And I wonder if this says anything about how they now view him, to where if he still was this prized prospect in whom the team had great faith, they wouldn't skip the step. But now, because the stock has taken some real hits and because there is kind of this feeling of, okay, let's go here. Is this guy a piece or not? They're willing to, quote unquote, skip the step and promote him when he has not earned the promotion, because there is this, burning desire, I would think, of, hey, let's figure out what the guy is. Let's get the ball rolling here on what he can be at the major league level.
Right. And I think you're correct there. And in a perfect world, they would do this at a better time that it made sense to do it. But they've reached a point where they just can't afford to do that. Cade Cavalli turns 27 next week. He's not a kid. He's made one big league start, but he was drafted out of college in 2020. It's now 5 years removed from that, 3 years removed from his one and only major league start, 2.5 years basically removed from his Tommy John surgery. He's healthy. He has not been consistent. We know sometimes with guys coming back from Tommy John, they aren't all the way back to what they were supposed to be, but there's still enough there, it seems like, to warrant a look. And maybe for whatever reason at the big league level, it works out better for him. Maybe he's been frustrated this whole time of just trying to get back to this point. I mean, let's be clear. Before he blows out his elbow in March of 23, we were several weeks into spring training at that point. He was on track to make the opening day rotation. This wasn't like he still had to, yes, he had to prove stuff, but like he was ready at that time. And the injury completely derailed that. And then the recovery from it and everything he's done since. So you want to believe there is something in there and that he can still be something for this team in the long run. And I'm going to be careful not to read too much into this one start. And I hope he doesn't view it that way and that they don't view it that way. If you put too much pressure on this one, then I think that can cloud your vision. As I said, hopefully he stays healthy. Let's see 10 starts out of him and then evaluate what he is at the end of this season. Hopefully there's enough there that makes you say, yes, he can still be a part of this.
August 26, 2022, a 7-3 Nats loss to the Cincinnati Reds at Nationals Park. Cavalli in that game, 7 runs in 4 1/3 innings. And the Nats just a few days later put him on the 15-day injured list with right shoulder inflammation. So if nothing else, hopefully he's healthy and remains healthy, and like Mark said, can make a good number of starts at the major league level the rest of this season. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. Hit us up on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website you could check out too, natschatpodcast.com, in which you can purchase a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening. Hang in there, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
Here's the set, the 1-2. Hassel grounds one fair inside the third base bag. Down the line, it hits the side wall. Mills will come in to score. They're going to hold Young at third, and Hassel jogs into second with an RBI double. Hassel, with his 4th hit since coming up from AAA, picks up his 3rd double and 13th RBI in the big leagues. Just poked that one right up the third base line fair.